In this video, you will learn how to use the Chaco rainfall map. If you ever need a reminder about how to use the map, click the Help button. This will launch a guided tutorial for how to use the map. When you are finished with the map, click this Exit button to return to the main website. The map focuses on the Chaco region of Paraguay and shows information about rainfall in that area. Most of these maps show some kind of rainfall data. On many of the maps, you can see isolines. Isolines are lines that connect points of the same value. If you have ever looked at a topographic map, you will have seen contour lines. These are also isolines, and they connect points of the same elevation value. In the case of our maps, we show isolines connecting points of the same rainfall value. The isolines are labeled and color-coded at 100 millimeter intervals to make it easy for you to see drier and wetter rainfall trends. In this example, we are showing the part of the Chaco that received 700 to 800 millimeters of rain for the year 2011. To give you a sense of location, we have also included the outlines of the Mennonite colonies and indigenous settlements. While you can gather some information by just looking at the map as it is, we provide some tools to let you see the map with more details. If you are already familiar with online maps like Google Maps or Apple Maps, you will easily be able to use our map as well. You can make the map bigger or smaller. We call this zooming in and zooming out. You can do it in a few different ways. You can click the plus and minus zoom buttons in the bottom right corner of the map. If your mouse has a scrolling wheel, you can operate it to zoom the map in or out. If you know where you want to zoom in your map, you can, while holding down the Shift button on the keyboard, left-click with your mouse and drag your cursor to create a zoom-in box. When you let go of your mouse button, the map will grow larger to fill in the box that you drew. If you know the name of the location you want to zoom to, click the search bar and start typing a name. When you see the name of the place in the list, click on the name and the map will change to show that location. To remove the blue place marker, click the X in the search bar. Now that you know how to navigate on the map, let's have a look at what kinds of information are available for you to view. You can use the layer selector on the left side of the map to choose your data to view. We have annual data, aggregate data, and geographic context data. Click on the Streets layer to see a familiar map of the region with roads, department boundaries, and village, town, and city place names. If you are interested to see a satellite view of the area, click the Satellite button. Remember that you can use the navigation tools to move to an area of interest on this satellite or street view. Let's move to our rainfall data now. We will use the year 2020 as an example. Click on the button labeled 2020. This map shows the total amount of rain that has fallen in this region in 2020. In this example, you can see that the driest region was in the north-central region with about 500 millimeters. The wettest area was near Asunción with about 2,300 millimeters. How do we know that these rainfall numbers are accurate? Ideally, we would have measurements from rain gauges throughout the region. But because this region has such a low population density, we rely on satellite data to help us with the rainfall amounts in each 10 kilometer by 10 kilometer square. Even with the sophisticated technology on the satellite, we still want to adjust its measurements to match what really happened on the ground. So we found historical rain gauge readings for the same area and time covered by the satellite. We used that rain gauge reading to adjust the satellite measurements. We assume that if the adjustments are close at the rain gauges, then the same adjustments will apply over the entire Chaco region. Each of these umbrella icons on the map represents one of the rainfall gauge stations. At the zoomed out level, you cannot see all the gauges. But as you zoom into the map, you can see more of the stations. You can click on any of these rain gauge umbrella icons to see a graph. The graph title tells us that the gauge station was located in Neuhauptstadt and that the measurements were reported by the Neuland Colony Administration. The blue line on the graph shows the rain gauge readings that this station reported for each month in the year 2020. The red line shows the rainfall readings that the satellite reported for each of the same months at the same location. While we do not expect the lines to match exactly, you can see from the graph that the satellite readings match fairly well the rain gauge readings. To close this graph, click the X in the top right corner, or simply click anywhere else on the map. In the same way you explored the annual rainfall for the year 2020, you can also see the rainfall for other years by selecting them from the layer selector. Now that we have the annual rainfall data over the entire Chaco region, we can do some further analysis. We can ask ourselves the question, what is the average rainfall for the region over the entire range of years? To see the answer, click on the Average layer. Again, you see the lines of equal rainfall amount and, as you might expect, the driest areas are in the northwest, while the wettest areas are in the southeast. One difference between this map and the annual maps is that you do not see any rain gauge station icons. For this map, you can click anywhere on the map to see the historical annual rainfall for a point. Let's click in a dry region up here. The graph shows the more precise average rainfall amount, but then also shows a graph of the total rainfall for each year at that location. Hover your mouse over one of the rainfall amount bars to see the actual amount for that year. Let's click in a wetter region near Asunción to see the data. Finally, remember you can use your navigation tools to find data for your area of interest. A final type of analysis is the trend analysis. It tries to answer the question, over time, is the rainfall amount at a location increasing or decreasing? To see the answer, click on the Trend layer. While the map looks similar to the other maps, it has an important difference. While the other maps show an annual rainfall amount or an average rainfall amount, this map shows how much the rainfall is changing per year. Let's explore this data. You can click anywhere on the map to see the data for that location. Let's start by zooming to a blue-colored region in the west. These isolines show 30 to 40 millimeters. That tells me that this area has a trend of increasing rainfall of 30 to 40 millimeters per year. Let's click in this area. You can see a graph that looks very similar to the bar chart you saw on the averages map. Indeed, the individual bars do show the annual rainfall at that location. The additional information on this chart is the red trend line. This line represents a straight line estimate of how the annual values are changing over time. You can see that statistically, it looks like the rainfall amounts are increasing between 30 and 40 millimeters per year in this area. Let's look at the 0 millimeter change line. This is the line that represents No trending increase or decrease over the 10 years. Clicking anywhere near the line shows you the annual data and trend line indicating very little change. Finally, let's look at one of the drying spots on the map. You can see that there is a definite drying trend in this region. Of all the maps on this site, the trending one is the most sensitive to the location of the rain gauge stations. As of the making of this video, most of the rain gauge stations we have used are in the central Chaco and near Asuncion. Therefore, we would expect the trend analysis to be most accurate there. Over time, we will add more rain gauge stations to our analysis and improve this map. When you are finished looking at the maps, click the Exit button to return to our main website. If you found this presentation interesting and want to share it with your friends, or if you have questions for us, please use the social media links at the bottom of each page to reach out to us. Thank you for watching this video. We look forward to your visit to our site again in the future.